Some stories begin quietly, others start with screaming matches, and then there are the ones that kick off with a sentence so outrageous your brain needs a few seconds to catch up. This one started like this. It would only be for a while. How hard can it be to help your brother? Pause, blink. That polite smile you use when your soul is internally packing its bags. Because when someone says, only for a while, my friends, what they actually mean is until you break. And when that sentence includes the word brother, congratulations. Guilt just entered the room without knocking. So do yourself a favor, grab a coffee and sit with me through this ridiculous story. You're going to need it. Now, welcome to Lying Whispers, my friends. With sarcasm on the side and zero emotional refunds. Stick with me till the end, because this one spirals fast.
Let me introduce you to Clara. Clara was the responsible one, the organized one. Bills paid early, fridge stocked, life moderately under control. She believed adults should act like adults. A wild concept, I know. Her brother, Lucas? Lucas was a free spirit, free from schedules, free from commitments, free from employment for most of his adult life. According to Lucas, he wasn't unemployed. He was figuring things out. He had been figuring things out for over a decade. He bounced between couches like it was an Olympic sport. Friends, cousins, ex-girlfriends, anyone who hadn't yet learned that just for a bit is a trap. He had plenty of opinions about the economy, society, and why working a regular job was beneath him. A philosopher of other people's living rooms. When their mother called Clara one afternoon, Clara already knew something was coming. Her mother never called to chat. She called to delegate responsibility. Your brother needs a place, her mother said softly. Just until he gets back on his feet. Back on his feet. As if he had fallen. As if Clara ran a recovery center with free meals. Clara hesitated. Why can't he stay with you? She asked, still believing logic might help. Her mother sighed. A long practiced sigh. You know I've done enough. Besides, you're more stable. You have space. Translation. You can't afford the inconvenience. He can't. 2 days later, the message arrived. Not a question. Not a discussion. A statement pretending to be love. He'll be there tomorrow. He doesn't have much. Help him restart. Clara read it 3 times. The 4th time she laughed. That dry, helpless laugh you make when you realize you've already lost. She tried calling her mother. Straight to voicemail. She typed a response. Deleted it. Typed again. Deleted. Because in families like this, saying no makes you the villain. That night, Clara barely slept. And Lucas wasn't even there yet, but his presence had already moved in. The next morning, she made too much coffee. Anxiety always brews extra. Then the doorbell rang. Confident. Unapologetic. She opened the door. Lucas walked in like had arrived at a boutique hotel. Backpack over one shoulder. Relaxed grin. Zero urgency.
Hey sis, he said.
I knew you'd come through. And right there, my friends, something cracked. No thank you. No hesitation. Just assumption. He dropped his bag in the living room. So, where am I sleeping? Not if. Not when it works for you.
Where?
She pointed to the guest room, the space she used to work, read, breathe. Perfect, Lucas said. Way better than Aunt's couch. Which was funny, considering had already worn out that couch. And several others. The days passed. Lucas slept late. Ate constantly. Looked for work, which involved scrolling and complaining. The system's rigged, heads say. People don't recognize talent. Bills went up. Food vanished. Hot water disappeared. Lucas contributed nothing. No money. No effort. No shame. One night, Clara came home exhausted and found her leftovers gone. Oh, yeah, Lucas said from the couch. I was hungry. No apology. No replacement. No awareness. And that's when it hit her. Lucas wasn't struggling. He was comfortable. And comfort makes people stay forever. So tell me, my friends, what would you have done at that point? Kept sacrificing? Kept explaining? Or started planning your escape? Stick with me. Because his arrival was only the beginning. Clara didn't kick him out right away. Of course she didn't. Because before people like Clara choose themselves, they usually go through a very dangerous phase over-explaining. They try to be reasonable with someone who survives by being unreasonable. Lucas settled in like a houseplant that refuses to die. Within a week, he was walking around the apartment in socks and confidence, leaving cups in places cups should never be, appearing exactly when Clara sat down to rest. "Hey, is there anything to eat?" Head asked casually. There was always something to eat, because Clara bought it, cooked it, planned for it. Lucas just existed near it. One random Tuesday, Clara came home early. It had been a brutal day, meetings that should have been emails, people who shouldn't have opinions, the usual. All she wanted was silence. She opened the door and froze. Lucas was in the living room with people. 3 friends she'd never seen before. Shoes on the rug. Drinks open. Music playing low but loud enough to be disrespectful. "Oh, you're home already," Lucas said. "We're just hanging out." Hanging out. In her house. Without asking. One of the guys opened the fridge and grabbed a drink like it was his birthright. Clara smiled. A tight smile. The kind that says, "I will remember this forever." "Lucas," she said calmly, "can we talk for a second?" "Later," he replied. Relax. Relax. That word should come with a warning label. That night, after everyone finally left, Clara didn't scream. She didn't cry. She did something scarier. She spoke clearly. "This can't continue," she said. "You moved in temporarily. This doesn't feel temporary. We need rules. And a plan." Lucas sighed. Deeply. Offended. "You've always been like this," he said. So controlling. Mom was right. Ah, yes. The mother card. "I'm not controlling," Clara said. "I'm paying for this place. You're not contributing." Lucas shrugged. "I didn't ask to be born." Silence. "Because, what do you even say to that? Congratulations?" "I need you to actively look for work," Clara continued. "And we need to talk about expenses. Or you'll have to think about leaving." Lucas looked at her like she'd committed a crime. "So you're kicking me out?" "No," she said. "I'm setting a boundary." To Lucas, those were the same thing. Actually, boundaries were worse. Boundaries meant effort. The vibe shifted after that. Lucas became passive-aggressive. Quiet. Heavy sighs. Little comments dropped like emotional landmines. "Must be nice not to worry about money. Some people care more about things than people." Clara started feeling uncomfortable in her own home. Walking on eggshells. Second-guessing herself. Wondering if she was being cruel. That, my friends, is family gaslighting at its finest. Then the phone call started. Her mother. "Your brother is very upset," she said. "He feels unwanted." "Of course he does." "I can't support him forever," Clara replied. "But he's your brother." There it was. The phrase. "He's not my child," Clara said quietly. "He's an adult." Her mother went silent. Then sharper. "I didn't raise you to be like this." And that's when it clicked. Clara realized she would never win. If she said yes, she'd lose herself. If she said no, she'd be the villain. So she chose a different loss. That night, she stopped arguing, stopped explaining, started planning. The next morning, Lucas found a piece of paper on the table. 30 days. 30 days to get a job. Or 30 days to leave. He laughed. "You don't have it in you," he said. "But this time, my friends." She did. The days passed. Lucas didn't apply for jobs. Didn't pack. Didn't change. He bet everything on guilt. Day 8:30 arrived. Clara changed the locks.
Lucas came home that night. Turned the key.
Nothing. He knocked. He yelled. He insulted. Neighbors stared. Clara stayed inside. Messages flooded in. From her mother, her aunt, her cousin. Everyone's suddenly very generous with her resources. Clara turned off her phone. That night, she didn't sleep well. But she slept in peace. Was it easy?
No.
Did it hurt?
Yes.
Was it necessary? Absolutely. Because helping doesn't mean destroying yourself. And love doesn't mean funding someone else's refusal to grow. Now tell me, my friends, would you have lasted longer? Would you have given in again? Or would you have changed the locks too? Comment down below. I need to know what you would have done. Because stories like this, they're not rare. They're just finally being told.